Well, welcome to West Country Wanderings, welcome to another one of my Lost Railway walks. This isn't a usual sort of Lost Railway walks. To tell you the truth, what's happened is originally I planned to do some editing and research today and do my Portishead Railway one in a couple of days' time. Unfortunately, yes, we've got another storm coming, so my filming day for that has gone. So I haven't had a great deal of time to do research here, and I wanted to do somewhere that's a bit drier. Today we're in southwest Warwickshire, just outside the town of Stratford Upon Avon. In fact, here, just over there, you'll be able to make out Stratford Upon Avon's Racecourse. And this here is the Stratford Greenway, which once carried a main line from Cheltenham Spa right up into the West Midlands, indeed into the heart of the town here. Part of it survives now, of course, on the Warwickshire Railway, which where I was on Christmas Day. Well, not literally. I wasn't there on Christmas Day. I filmed it a few days before Christmas Day, and that video did really well. I was at Gotherington Halt there. And if trains carried on from Gotherington going north, they would have ended up here. So I hope you enjoy me again here on West Country Wanderings, looking at railways, plural, not just this one, around Stratford Upon Avon. So this is a section of the former GWR Railway line, which went from Cheltenham Spa to Stratford Upon Avon, which was completed in the early part of the 20th century. And this section here is a survivor in terms of it being now a cycle and walking route through Stratford is that way, and that way back down towards Honeybourne and the Cotswold line, main line. Now, it's very unlikely that the Gloucester-Warwickshire Railway will continue north from Honeybourne into this section, but there have been plans of discussions of reopening it because there's lots of new developments around the village of Long Marston. And indeed, there is a huge railway site there still in existence, which I did looking at the Long Marston depot as a separate video about a couple of years ago, and I'll link to that at the end of this video. It is in reasonable condition, that bridge there. I think it was built when the line here became double track. Now, the complication to this is that the line was originally not a GWR line that was built in the early 20th century, but this section here from Honeybourne into Stratford was actually a branch line from the old Worse and Worse. Yes, the Oxford, Wolverhampton and Worcester Railway, which of course is today's present-day Cotswold line. And they built this branch line here from Honeybourne into Stratford back in the 19th century rather than the GWR, but the GWR later taking it up when they expanded it, widened it and connected it up from Cheltenham to Stratford in the 20th century. And as well as that part of the bridge there, the iron or metal, steel, I think it's actually steel cantilever construction, you have this arch part of it here. So this arch is here, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, I think that's 5 arches there with that wonderful blue railway brickwork here. And I think this is from the time that the line was doubled, GWR, at the beginning of the 20th century. Of course, the River Avon is just through the arch there. But I'm going to follow the footpath here, so I'm not actually on the Greenway yet. I'm hoping this will turn up onto the Greenway shortly. And that's looking back in the opposite direction there with the arches and the cantilever construction. Our footpath goes underneath both arches because we've got this one, which is the newer one, 20th century, and connected to that is the older one built by the old Worse and Worse in the 19th century, which is next to it here, just going under that bit now, which is a little bit more worn and redder bricks there, as you can see, bringing us out right by the banks of the River Avon. And that's the way that our footpath is going to take us right up there onto the Greenway. And now we're on the embankment itself looking down at Stratford on Avon's Racecourse. In fact, indeed, there was once a railway station here to serve the needs of the racegoers here on race days. It was hereabouts, but I've been unable to find an old photograph of said station. You can see here how it is double track width all the way, so this embankment would have been extended when the GWR muscled in and built their line here. We'll talk about why that happened in a moment. Now, historically in the mid-19th century, trains going north and south in this part of the West Country, heading up into the West Midlands and the north, would have used the Midland Railway line, which was the Gloucester to Birmingham line, fundamentally the Bristol Gloucester to Birmingham line, which is further to the west of Stratford Upon Avon, so it bypassed this part of the world. So we're obviously today we're in southwest Warwickshire, a little bit more to the east. So Stratford was cut off from that. And the Midland Railway decided to build another line to serve places which hadn't previously been covered by that direct line from Gloucester, heading up Gloucester, Cheltenham, directly up over Lickey Hill into the conurbation of Birmingham and the West Midlands. So it cut out lots of places like Ulster and Evesham. So what they decided to do, the Midland Railway, was to build another line which was called the Gloucester-Redditch Loop, which curved out of Ashchurch, not far from the town of Tewkesbury, heading north towards Evesham and Ulster, very parallel to the way I've driven up here today following the A46. And that meant that the GWR were thinking, they're muscling in on our area. We want to run trains from the north and the Midlands down to our part of the world in the West Country. And well, we don't want to go over the Midland Railway. We want to build our own lines. So in the 20th century, that's decided. What they wanted to do was build their own tracks from Cheltenham into the West Midlands. Indeed, when this line was in its extent around the 1920s, there was the Cornish Flyer, which went daily from the city, now city, was a town then, of Wolverhampton, which was then in Staffordshire, now county of West Midlands, down to Penzance, and that ran daily in both directions, well, one in one direction, one in the other direction, flying through here down to Penzance, down that way, some 250 miles to the southwest of where I currently am. So yeah, this area would have been full of trains. There was lots of local trains as well, going between Gloucester and Stratford and Cheltenham, and other services connecting up at Honeybourne. Now the line didn't actually go into Honeybourne station itself. They built an additional loop, an additional platform there, although I think one train a day headed up from Cheltenham going into Moreton on the Cotswold line, and down from Stratford going into Moreton as well. But yeah, so we just have a appreciation of this bit here. So we have a lake over there, and here, as I say, hereabouts it would have been the sidings for the racecourse here at Stratford Upon Avon. Now if you remember at the start I said railways plural, because not only have we got this one here, which is part of the Cheltenham Stratford line, but also two other railways, or rather one of them is a tramway, and the other line was, I think it's called the East Central Junction Railway. That could be wrong, but it extended from Funny Stratford over there, kind of mid-east part over there towards the Oxford Canal direction, which we've picked up a bit before when we looked at a military railway around. Now there's a difference on the pronunciation, Kinnerton, Kyneton, Kinton, however you want to pronounce it. Take your pick from those military area in the village there, in the kind of the far east of the Cotswolds. Ran from there, picking up the main line, the main Chiltern Railway, going to Stratford Upon Avon, and then continuing on to Broome Junction, where it met the former Gloucester to Redditch loop line going up from Ashchurch towards Redditch, of which only a stub of that remains from Redditch, which is now electrified, into the heart of Birmingham, which we saw on one of my monthly vlogs towards the end of last year in the village of Alchurch in Worcestershire. So there's that line. We might see a bit of that line, not sure how much of that. I'm going to walk this all the way into Stratford, and then we'll hopefully pick up part of a tramway as well. Now, as I understand it, the sidings would have extended here on the right-hand side, which would have been very busy, but only on race days. There would have been nothing in terms of railways serving the station here, and the sidings with all the excursion trains taking the racegoers to Stratford Upon Avon Racecourse. Well, as I say, I still can't find an old photograph of what it looked like here, but I'll see if I can pick it up on one of the OS maps as well, insert that roundabout there, so hopefully it will show the sidings off this line here on the Greenway in Stratford Upon Avon. So this here is Bobby's Cafe, which is on the site of the former Stratford Upon Avon Racecourse station. And yes, I know it's closed today. I did know it was closed today. I was hoping to visit on an open day. It is open tomorrow, but tomorrow it's absolutely chucking it down with rain, so that's not really ideal for filming. Don't know how long it's been here. Obviously the rails on the carriage is mocked up to represent roughly the site or the start of the sidings and the platform that once existed here for racegoers to alight on this line from Cheltenham to Stratford, and indeed connecting two racecourses, because at the other end of this line you have Cheltenham Racecourse. So yeah, lovely and delightful spot to sit and look at both the racecourse and the river here on the Stratford Upon Avon Greenway, which heads south, as I say, to Long Marston. Yeah, it's a great resource to have this cafe here. I say sadly it's not open today, but hopefully when you visit it, it will be open, and hopefully it'll be a nice day. As I say, tomorrow and the day after, not great. So I'll be probably editing this and a couple of other videos. I'm going to head now into Stratford Upon Avon to follow the trackbed all the way, as close as I can, all the way to the present day Stratford Upon Avon Racecourse, not Racecourse, station indeed, which I have visited before, but now that only serves trains going in a northerly direction towards Birmingham, not in the southerly direction. And then we're going to cut across on a loop to join that aforementioned line and then down to the tramway and make our way back to where I started from. So it's a nice little route. I say it's all flat and it's pretty mud free, which is always great this time of the year in January. Now further below the bridge where we joined the Greenway, near the racecourse, the other end of the racecourse, not far from where we parked my car, is another station, and that was called Milcote. Not to be confused with Wilmcote, which is where Anne Hathaway was born, which I did a canal series video looking at one of the aqueducts on the Stratford Upon Avon canal even. But yes, so this is Milcote, which was the next station there after Stratford Racecourse platform, and there was another one which was Holt. Now this, I'm not sure about this, I think it was Lavington, but that could be wrong. As I say, I think that opened during the First World War. It certainly closed and didn't reopen until the 1930s, or 1930, and that was just literally a very, very basic wooden GWR thing. Might have had a pagoda shelter. I do have a photograph of that one, so I can insert that one round now in my book about this line from Cheltenham to Stratford. But yeah, very little in terms of stations, so that was it. And so the next station after that would have been Honeybourne on the main Cotswold Railway line, and then down to, is it Willersley, Western Subedge, Willersley, and then Broadway, which is where, of course, the present day Gloucestershire and Warwickshire Railway. The other thing I forgot to point out is that the Greenway coming up from Stratford Racecourse into the heart of Stratford is on the Monarch's Way. Yay! I won't go into details of that. You'll know all about that if you are a regular viewer here on West Country Wanderings. Have this delightful coloured post, which I often come across on former railways that have been converted in for suitable for cycling use, because they form part of the national cycle route, although I don't think this one is part of the NCN. But as you can see, it's 3/4 mile to Stratford Upon Avon town centre, where we're going to head to the railway station. There is a different path which converts off to Shipston on Sour and Broadway, which of course the railway line went to. It's 15 miles away. And to Long Marston, which is via Milcote, which is the aforementioned station I mentioned. So that's 4.5 miles down in that way. And my Long Marston video actually covered the southern end of the Greenway here in southwest Warwickshire. And just to give you a little bit more detail in this area, that's looking back down to Milcote and Long Marston, which is the way we've just walked up from, along the Greenway and Monarch's Way. And there's this path here to the car park. Now actually the line split off down there, there's a little fork and it goes up this way. So what is this here then? Well, this is part of a loop, I think, for this, I think it's called East Central. But I say I'll put in clarifications on subtitles. And that continued around here, which is still a present day footpath, which I think I may follow, because the other way, which is the Greenway, has now been built on as a road towards the railway station. So I think I'll go into the town centre this way, which is, I think, going to be a lot more pleasant. So this would have been the railway, which would have continued on to Kinton, Kinton, whichever way you want to pronounce that village there. And yeah, so that diverges off around to the right and continued on then to the Chiltern Main Line at Fenny Stratford. Now, I must admit, I didn't expect to find this on a very busy road. I think it's the Stratford on Avon Ring Road, not sure the road number, right in, or just off the Monarch's Way. So the Monarch's Way, which is what I'm heading on now to get into the town centre along here, and parallel to it, as this would have been the line that ECR1, Kinton. Yeah, along there. So possibly a siding, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if that has been moved there or whether it's on its original orientation from when the line closed. If you do know, please let me know in the usual way in the comments below. Thanks. Well, we have some more railway things here as well. So it looks like we've got rails here, presumably for some kind of pedestrian access. It looks like it goes down towards that field, so maybe there was originally some kind of steps taking you up to this area here where the present day Greenway car park is. Now, I think this bridge has been rebuilt, but I don't know if this originally follows the line of the original bridge of the East Junction Railway, part of the Stratford Upon Avon Railways. I think they're called SOAR, which would of course had to go across the River Avon there, heading on its easterly course. See if I can find a photo of a bridge, railway bridge in this location. Anyway, we need to go underneath that arch there to head into Stratford Upon Avon town centre and round to the railway station where the Greenway officially ends, but of course it follows the road that has now been built across the track bed. And next to the busy road bridge, we also have this cute footbridge here as well. I know it's not railway, but it's still interesting to see, isn't it? But as I say, our railway would have crossed over the Avon hereabouts, heading easterly. Currently in the centre of Stratford Upon Avon. In fact, I'm in a beautiful park, but unfortunately I don't know the name of the park. I've just walked through the gates, but it doesn't seem to have a sign. What I do know, of course, is that is the River Avon down there. I've just seen some rowers go past it, so that's a delightful walk. It will be a circular walk. I'm going to head over across into the town centre. I probably won't film that too much because it'll be busy, noisy, town centre-y traffic and all that, but I will when we get to the railway station. Then we'll head off on our circular route following the tramway back to where we started down there by Stratford Racecourse. I think that answers the question about the name of the park, because there we have actors Shakespeare. These of course are the Royal Shakespeare Company gardens here by the River Avon. And so we're now outside what is known as the other place. That's the other RSC theatre here in Stratford. So we're still in Stratford Upon Avon, just a little bit further south. Oh, I might have said earlier on, it was Anne Hathaway's house. Of course, Milcote is Mary Arden, isn't it? But yeah, I stand corrected on that one. But yeah, we're not here for the Shakespeare. So we've got a rail here, right? And that is our Greenway again. So we've caught up to it. South of there, it joins the road, which is all now built up between there and where we left it at the car park there, as we made our way up from the racecourse. But we need to join it here. As I say, we've got this footpath that goes across it. So this, I don't know if there would have been a footbridge here or a pedestrian crossing across the railway, but we need to go right. So that way is looking south along the Greenway. So right for pedestrians, left for cyclists. And this way is heading north. So this will take us right up to, well, almost the railway station. Of course, trains would have headed through the railway station. It's now a terminus station, but it wasn't originally, down towards Cheltenham's Bar. So you can see the width of it here with the backing of on the fences of the houses there. So this would have all been railway land, but it now makes a delightful green corridor in the heart of the town centre here in Warwickshire. Now, apart from being convenient because it's going to be rainy for the next couple of days and wanting to do a drier, flatter railway, Lost Railway walk today, it's also good coming to Stratford Upon Avon in January, because like the other places in resorts further in the southwest, in the West Country Wandering region, This we're in the kind of the extreme northeastern corner of it here. It also gets busy, so you know, likes of St Ives and Perranporth and Torquay and all that area gets very, very busy, as it does here in Stratford. Although this is an inland town, there is water, River Avon, and the canal. But yeah, it gets very, very busy in the height of the summer, so makes it more pleasant filming here in Stratford today. In fact, it's been very, very quiet. I've just seen a couple of Japanese tourists, and that's about it. I haven't seen coach loads of people. I think the low temperature is keeping people away here today. So this is kind of the end of the line as far as the Greenway is concerned. Stratford Upon Avon railway station is a little bit further on the green fence there, which I think is a network rail fence. The buffer stops would be a little bit further there in the undergrowth, but to say trains would originally made their way south through where I'm currently standing on the Greenway, the former Stratford Upon Avon to Cheltenham line. So I've now arrived at Stratford Upon Avon railway station, and this is looking back down what is the Greenway. So we're now just the other side of that network rail green fence I showed you on the footpath there. This is used as a stabling point here and occasionally to turn trains around, but though there isn't much run up through there, and so the line would have continued once down towards Cheltenham Spa. Let's go and have a look at the station itself. So we're now outside of Stratford Upon Avon station. Gives you all the destinations, but as you can see, it's now effectively a terminus here at Stratford Upon Avon. So we are here, so no line going south, unfortunately. Next station north is Stratford Parkway, which I think opened just a few years ago, maybe 10, possibly slightly less. And then you can extend it on to Claverton and all the way down there towards Birmingham Moor Street and Birmingham Snow Hill. Sometimes they do run through trains from here towards London as well. I love the old lights there. There's a technical name for those with the font and the strip lighting and that. I think that arrived, pops in the 1950s or 60s, but lovely frontage here with canopy, which has been restored, which is great to see. And in case you're wondering how trains get to London from here, because London of course is south, well, they effectively head up towards Lapworth and then go across to Leamington Spa before joining the Chiltern railway line and then down to Banbury, Oxford, High Wycombe and London Marylebone. And so that's the bit heading down to where we were, down towards Cheltenham Spa in that direction. But as I say, sadly no more. But it still makes a nice greenway through the town and following the river. So it's good that they've still got the original footbridge as well as the newer one for disability access, because obviously this newer one has got the lifts, but the original footbridge is there. And there's 3 platforms. There's a through train going to Worcester Foregate Street on this one here. Platform 2, it's got a train going to Kidderminster soon, and platform 3 I think is going over to Leamington Spa. Well, I'm going to head now back into the town centre. I won't film that bit, down to where the Stratford Upon Avon canal joins the River Avon, to pick up the route of the tramway and take that route as our return loop back to Stratford Upon Avon Racecourse. So I'm now down by the canal basin where it meets the River Avon, and this is also where we have a cart from the Stratford Upon Avon to Moreton Tramway. So this is one of the wagons here from 1826 and 16 miles down to the market town of Marsh in the Cotswolds, of course. And then there was a branch to Shipston on Stour. Now the bridge which we're about to go across the River Avon was the inspiration of one William James. The GWR opened the section from Shipston on Stour to Moreton in Marsh later on, utilising part of the track bed of the tramway. What was carried on the tramway? Well, basically coal, stone and agricultural produce between the town's canal basin, which connects it of course up to the heart of the West Midlands and Birmingham, and the two other towns of Moreton and Shipston. And the arrival of the mainline railways meant that it declined. But in 1889 there were steam locomotives reintroduced as part of the line between Moreton and Shipston on Stour. William James was actually born in Henley and Arden, just a little bit to the north of here in Warwickshire, and he originally trained as a lawyer. But as the Industrial Revolution unfolded, he became a land agent and civil engineer and soon discovered the flaws of the country's transport system, and he had a flair for developing tramways and railways. Sadly, William James was declared bankrupt and imprisoned for debt, having invested in too many speculative projects. So we're now going to walk across the tramway bridge, leaving Stratford Upon Avon and then following part of the route of the tramway back to our original point of origin. But this here is Tramway House. So here we have Stratford Upon Avon's famous butterfly farm. It's off to the left, but the tramway and our route back to the racecourse is just following it along there in a dead straight line on the right. You can see here how much that the embankment of the tramway is built up. There's the car park and the river over there, that way, that side. But we're on an embankment here on the tramway heading south, which would have been down to Moreton and Shipston. And not many of the original features of the tramway survive. I think there are a couple of bridges. There's also a pond which used to be a brickworks, which is further to the south of here, but along this section in Stratford not much apart from this embankment here. Another indication of the height of the embankment here, because of this gated access to this close community just on the left there. It's almost like a moat down there on the left where the land is level with the river. Camera's going to pick it out, but just round about there is a pub there called the Old Tramway, which is great to see. Well, I don't think you can miss that sign there, so you've actually got stepped access off the tramway directly to the pub. Wow, here is one of the tramway bridges. I've just come off the tramway, so it's up there. I've just come down to have a look and take a photograph. Oh, that's a fantastic sight to see. As I knew there were some bridges, about 3 of them left. I didn't realise one of them was actually here in Stratford Upon Avon. As I say, this is a bridge carrying the tramway over this access track. Something very strange behind me here, and it's this. I've never seen anything quite like this before. It's this little layout here, which I think is probably used for practicing cycling proficiency. Isn't that just cute? There's nobody actually using it at the moment, but yeah, crossroads there with lights which change. There's traffic lights there which change. Obviously nobody using it at the moment, but it's for cycling and practicing. There's even a roundabout there just off the left of the screen in the middle. Wonderful. So I am back on the tramway again now, high up above the Warwickshire countryside. Light levels are going down. The sun will be going down in about half an hour, so the last part of the video might be a little bit grainy before we get back to Stratford Upon Avon Racecourse. Now a little bit further down here is a roundabout where we kind of turn right and rejoin up with the Greenway again. In that area there though, there was kind of an intersection. I don't know whether it was an overbridge, a crossing on the level between the tramway and our other railway we've been talking about today, the ECR one. So when we get to it, the other railway will be coming out of Stratford Upon Avon from where that car park was on the Greenway, heading to my left, Stratford Upon Avon on the right, and the next stop on that line would have been Kinton, that one. Sorry about the traffic noise, but our railway, the ECH one down to Kinton, was off down that way. The present day Banbury Road A4390, but we need to go right down this way along Seven Meadows Road to join up with the Monarch's Way again. Unfortunately, the tramway disappears right down there into the undergrowth. So we're now back to that bridge again across the River Avon, which we need to go up and across over by. Now this will take us to Milcote this way, but we'd be on the wrong side of the river for our river walk. But it's lovely there with the sunset. So as the sun dips down over the River Avon here, just on the outside of the town of Stratford Upon Avon in Warwickshire, that's the end of this shorter Lost Railway Walks, not looking at just one, but two railways and a tramway as well. We're circling around the town of Stratford Upon Avon. I'm not sure if the original route of our railway heading into the station from Kyneton, that one, from here, so that was in that direction. It went across the river here, but as I say, over what bridge, I'm not sure, but as I say, it linked to where we saw that sleeper and buffers there, and then heading into Stratford Upon Railway Station, as we saw on the Greenway there, joining up with the line which headed up from Cheltenham Spa. That's it for today. There'll be another one in my railway series in the not too distant future. If I like that sort of thing, then, well, you know what to do. I'm not going to repeat all that stuff. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, or comment about it or any more information, I'd love to hear from you, so please drop a comment below, and if you want to share it with somebody you think might be interested, then I'll be very, very appreciative of that as well. Thanks for today. Take care of yourselves, look after yourselves, hope to see you soon. All the best for now. Bye bye.